looking at you, kid.
That's the rumor.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Get away from her, you bitch!
I'll have what she's having.
You move, Chief.
I've been poor my whole life.
Not true.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned.
It is extremely rude.
Funny how?
You can't handle the truth!
Not quite my tempo.
Is this your homework, Larry? This is a necessity of yours. Where I'm from.
No fighting.
And here we go.
Okay, hi everybody.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas!
Santa?
Oh, I didn't realize Santa was making a guest appearance. It is our Christmas episode called Christmas Occasion Classic Kringle Santa Unity Caroling Kindness Episode, Run Number 1. Subtitled Christmas Palooza.
Well, happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
No, Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
You'll understand why after.
Oh my goodness. But I say happy Christmas now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It just sounds fun.
Trust me, it's not more fun. I'll explain why.
Okay.
Merry Christmas. Say it back.
Okay, well, we didn't actually watch a Christmas movie together this year. We are going to review a Christmas episode of a TV show that we really liked, The Bear. It's in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
The episode is called Fishes, and it is chaotic. If you do not want any spoilers about this show, please skip this section. There will be spoilers.
You're going to spoil things.
The fact that we talk about Carby's mom is a spoiler.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. I guess this is a spoiler kind of deal, but I don't think it's like
huge. But also, if you haven't watched this show, you should watch it. And if you haven't watched this show, this will spoil it a little bit.
I'm not going to go into details about what happens in the episode. I'm just going to vaguely talk about.
It still is a spoiler. In my opinion.
All right. So you've been warned, I guess. I don't think this is like the most explicit spoiler warning in the world, but it's like a light spoiler warning, I guess. So you've been warned. Should I read the summary?
Yep.
That I've prepared? Carmy gets a flashback to a chaotic Christmas at the Berzotto household. Guests starring many people you may know. I'll go over them later.
Dun dun dun.
So what do we like about this?
It's chaotic. It's very overwhelming and overstimulating just watching this.
Yeah.
I mean, they really put you in the episode. I feel like. You really feel like you're there.
It feels like you're going home for the holidays and seeing a bunch of people that you don't see very often.
Yeah.
It feels like that. It really does.
Yeah. So some of the key characters in this episode are Carmy, who the bear is based off of.
It's his show.
There's Richie, who is their cousin but not by blood. He is just a family friend that they're cousins. Donna is the mom, and she's played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Mm-hmm. And then Mikey, Carmy's brother.
Yeah.
Did I miss anybody?
Well, I'm going to go over more people later, so don't worry about it.
Okay. But basically, Mikey's home from Europe, right?
No, Carmy is.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Carmy's home from Europe.
So Carmy's a big chef. If you've never seen The Bear, it's about them starting a restaurant in Chicago, trying to maintain the restaurant in Chicago, and Carmy is a really great chef, but on top of like all the stresses of kitchen work and setting up a restaurant and whatever, he's dealing with his brother committing suicide, having committed suicide before that's not a spoiler. That's like in the first episode. Mm-hmm. So his brother is, what's his brother's name again? Mikey. Yeah. Played by John Bernthal, who was the Punisher and in The Walking Dead, and he's in a bunch of other stuff. Like, you've almost for sure seen him in something. So that's a little bit of a background. So that's why Carmy was in Europe. He was working
because
in
Mikey
Amsterdam.
Never wanted Carmy to work in the restaurant with him.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing in Carmi's life. It really hurt his feelings. And then Mikey committed suicide, and he never understood why. Carmi never understood why Mikey never let him work there.
Yeah.
And so throughout this Christmas episode, Carmi keeps trying to talk to Mikey. Hey, I've been doing these things. I have these ideas for the restaurant. Like, let me come and work with you. And Mikey keeps just blowing him off.
Yeah.
And sad. What did you like about the episode?
The performances are all tip-top, especially Jamie Lee Curtis. I was kind of upset when she won the supporting actress Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I thought one of the fact that Everything Everywhere All at Once won literally everything, and Banshees of Inisherin didn't win anything for the actor category really upset me.
Yeah.
I felt like the girl that plays the sister in that movie should have won Best Supporting Actress that year.
Oh, from Banshees?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that later.
Anyway, I was really bothered by that, but then after watching this episode, I'm weirdly okay with it, because I know that Jamie Lee Curtis will never be able to get an Oscar for an episode of TV, but this episode, she deserves it.
Yeah.
It's that freaking good, and it's only an hour.
She's unrecognizable, almost.
Yeah. She's so good. I also thought that the writing is it's just perfect. It captures like the happiness and the joy that you get when you go home for Christmas, but also like the weird tensions and awkwardnesses that can sometimes take place with people that you don't see very often. And you can tell that there are like old grudges that are just kind of bubbling as the episode wears on. Also, the storytelling in the context of the show is really good. So we get a look at Richie's life before he got divorced. Or
separated. I don't know if he was married.
I thought they were.
Oh, they might have been.
We get to see why Carmi doesn't talk about his mom, avoids his mom during the rest of the show. This is the first time we've seen Carmi's mom.
I forgot to mention Carmi and Mikey's sister, Natalie, also known as Sugar.
Yeah.
Why she has such a rough relationship with her mom. Like, all of them have a hard time with their mom. It makes sense.
I was just about to get to that, too.
Sorry.
And it, like, goes over sort of Richie and, what's the Cicero, the uncle?
Yeah.
It goes over sort of why their history is the way it is. It's just, like, it gives you so many, like, very
much context.
juicy giblets, I would say.
Ew!
of information, and it's like so freaking good.
Well, and it's crazy that they waited so long, because this is season 2, halfway or almost done with season 2, that like this gives so much context to the characters and really gives a lot of like development of them. It's crazy that they waited until season 2 to do this.
Yeah,
but I love the way that they did it.
I do too.
It's so much information.
Yeah. This was one of the most like stunning episodes of TV that I ever remember watching.
Acting wise?
In every sense. Like, it looks really good. It's framed beautifully.
Yeah.
The writing is perfect. The acting is perfect. Like, the way it ties into the show is perfect. It's awesome. Yeah. For dislikes, I wrote literally nothing. This is one of the only episodes of TV that I actually think is perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. I have nothing bad to say about this episode.
I think it's amazing when you're at like a Christmas party, when you're at a family function, holiday event, and there's a lot of people there, you know, all the aunts and uncles, the cousins, all your siblings are home for the holidays. It can be super overwhelming and super loud. And I think this episode did a really good job of how people, the quieter people or the people that want to stay out of the way, and they're off in the living room. They're off in a different room having conversations
which totally happens.
Totally happens. Yeah. And all of the craziness is happening inside the kitchen and in the dining room.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that they just hit the mark perfectly on that.
Yeah. Also, a little detail that I love how Italian their family is.
Yeah.
And at one point, Sugar's husband brings like a tuna casserole.
Well, tell them about the 7 fishes.
Yeah, okay. So in Italy, there's a tradition on Christmas Eve. You have the Feast of the 7 Fishes. I don't actually know what it means.
What the hell is the point of 7 fishes?
but I know that that's a thing. So there's 7 seafood dishes, and you eat that at Christmas Eve, and that's an Italian tradition.
And so Donna, Carmi's mom, is
Yeah,
making the 7
feast.
fishes.
Yeah, basically by herself.
Yeah.
And then Sugar's husband comes in with a tuna casserole, and everyone freaks out at him.
And he's
like,
such a nice guy.
It's 7 fishes. What the freak are you doing bringing an 8th? There's no 8th fish. There's 7. And like it's like 3 different characters that explode on him for this, including Carmi.
Yeah, and people like are getting mad at him, and then someone else walks in and they're like, "What the heck is that?" And he's like, "Tuna casserole." What are you doing?
7 fishes.
Tuna? Get rid of that. And then they're like, "Sugar, you didn't tell him? I told him. He didn't listen."
They're just like Italians are very particular about their food. So
and then
like,
they just throw it out on the porch before Donna can see it. They just throw it outside and close the door.
Yeah. So this episode is like, it's not just tense and like edge of your seat. It's really funny too.
Yeah.
Like this show like blends comedy and drama like better than any show that is currently out, I would say. Yeah. I think this is like the peak right now of TV in general, besides just like blending comedy and drama.
So in the episode, Donna, I don't know if they explicitly say what her mental illness is. It seems like it's manic bipolar or borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm diagnosing her, basically. I don't know. I shouldn't do that.
Yes, Dr.
But
Micah.
She's very all over the place.
What medicine should she be taking?
She's very all over the place.
Yeah.
And Sugar, her daughter, keeps coming in and is like, "Mom, what can I help you with? Mom, are you okay?" And like the "are you okay" seems like a trigger for Donna, and she explodes on Sugar every single time. "I'm fine. Doesn't it look like I'm fine? Yeah. Why do you think I'm not?" Every single time.
Well, I think she definitely is bipolar because like she has moments of being incredibly warm and like personable, and then she just flips.
Yeah.
And becomes like scary to be around.
Yeah.
So I think probably that's what it is.
Just hard. Yeah. It has to be really hard to see, your parent like that.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea Jamie Lee Curtis had it in her. I always liked her as an actress.
I have some fun facts for you whenever we get there.
Yeah.
But some of the calmer parts of this, I think she's Carmi's aunt. It could be a cousin. They didn't really say what she was.
Sarah Paulson.
Probably.
The one from The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, the one that lives in New York.
I think she's their cousin.
Okay, whatever. Yeah. There's all this chaos going on, and she pulls Carmi aside and is like, "This is crazy. You need to get out.
Yeah.
Come and live with me."
Yeah.
And it's just as really, there's all these side conversations going on throughout Christmas.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just how it is.
Richie trying to get a job working for Cicero. Mikey literally interacting with everybody. Having butting heads with Bob Odenkirk's character.
Yeah, who is he? Is he an ex-husband or?
I don't know.
They didn't really explain who that was.
Yeah, we should have looked into that. But that's a nice segue into the next segment. Guest starring, where I tell you who the guest stars were for this episode, because it's freaking stacked.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've mentioned Jamie Lee Curtis. I was shooketh when I saw her on screen. I was like, oh, what? That's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know her from Knives Out, Halloween, Freaky Friday, the remake, Everything Everywhere All at Once, A Fish Called Wanda. She's been around for a long time.
Also, Braden's celebrity crush when she was younger.
Yeah. Sarah Paulson she's literally everyone from American Horror Story, but we know her from The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Great show.
Yep. Gillian Jacobs, who's Britta.
Is that Jillian?
Jillian Jacobs.
If I had to guess, it's probably that.
Who's Britta from Community.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
Yeah. And then John Mulaney.
Yeah, that also surprised me.
The comedian. Bob Odenkirk from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. He's Saul Goodman.
Yeah, he's the one that's trying to get inside Donna's pants.
He's really good in this too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Mikey have a fight that is like equal parts hilarious.
It's so dumb.
And disturbing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so good. And then obviously the main cast including Jeremy Allen White from Shameless. He's the main character. He's Carmy. And then John Bernthal, who's his brother.
Mikey.
Mikey, who appears sporadically throughout the show.
Yeah.
And then Richie and the...
Sugar.
What's Fez? What's his name?
Fack.
Yeah.
And for my mom listening, that's F-A-K.
Yeah.
His name is Fahak, but spelled with a PH, so it sounds like Fahak.
That's his character's name. He's great.
Well, the Fack brothers.
Yeah. Do you have some trivia?
Yeah. Did you have a title for this segment?
Guest starring...
For fun facts?
That's all. I didn't write any fun facts.
Oh, okay. So, apparently, Jamie Lee Curtis is 24 years sober.
Oh.
In real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A recovering alcoholic. Which was interesting to me.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I mean, after 24 years, I'd say she's probably recovered alcoholic.
I think they're always recovering, though.
Really?
Yeah. It's an addiction. I don't think it ever goes away.
Hmm.
So, most of the show was filmed, digitally, I'm assuming? But this Christmas episode I read was shot on film, which gives it a warm look.
Yeah. It does look different than the rest of the show.
It's very warm.
Not to say that the rest of the show doesn't look good. The rest of the show looks great.
Yeah.
But, this does look different.
Yeah. It's just a different vibe. Like, in some shows when they have flashbacks being, a gray hue or a orange. This one's just very warm and orange and yellow. What I wrote down was Jamie Lee Curtis, so Donna, is set off. I think I already mentioned this, but Donna is set off every time Natalie Sugar asks her if she's okay, which eventually leads to it. Oh.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. There's a big event. Is that too much?
No, that's fine.
A big event at the end that's kind of triggered by Sugar asking, "Are you okay?" I just think this episode was really good. If you haven't seen The Bear, definitely go and watch it.
Oh my gosh.
It's one of our favorite shows, I would say.
It's, season 2 especially.
Yeah.
I loved season 1, and we were kind of late to the party because season 2 came out this summer. And
we didn't watch it till the fall, I think.
Yeah, we hadn't watched any of it. And then I kept hearing how amazing season 2 was, and I was like, yeah, it's just like season 1. And then this episode happens, and then the next 2 episodes happen. And it's 3 perfect episodes in a row. And it's I've never seen a show do that as well as The Bear has. And I hope it's just as good.
Yeah.
Season 3. This is stellar.
Something else that I read online is people were wondering. So Carmy is kind of jacked. If you've seen pictures of him online, he's a 5'7", 5'8"?
He's small.
He's small.
I think he's maybe even 5'6".
Really?
He's really small.
Yeah. And so if you look up pictures of him online with his shirt off, which I'm not saying I'm doing, but he's jacked. And people online are wondering if that's very realistic, that he's a chef and he's jacked. Mm-hmm. I think it can be. I mean, they work crazy hours, but also
Anthony Bourdain was as well.
From what?
I think he did. He got into martial arts near the end of his life. So,
but something that continue on with what I read online is you're working with nutrition and you have to stand up all day, and you would want to be healthy. I feel like
you have to have all those muscles for yelling.
Exactly, and doing those whiskins.
Yeah, and you got to somehow compensate for all the cigarettes you smoke in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh.
Also, Gordon Ramsay was an ex-pro soccer player. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that.
That's cool.
So,
anything else? Should we rate it?
I think that was all I had.
Okay, rating time. Everyone gather around the fireplace for rating time. I'm giving this 10 fishes out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I will also give this 10. Fork throwings. Out of 10.
Solid. All right. Let's move on. I read a book.
Okay. Tell us what you read.
And it's a Christmas book.
Ooh.
And it's the Christmas book.
Ooh.
Should I give them all?
You read The Grinch?
You bite your tongue.
You read Elf?
I love The Grinch, though, Micah. No, I read A Christmas Carol.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Yes, you have. This was written in 1843 by Charles Dickens. And
Charlie Boy?
I don't think I've mentioned it really on this show, but I've only read a couple of Charles Dickens books all the way through. I think maybe 3 or 4. I love Charles Dickens. I'm really glad that
Charlie D.
I love Charlie D. I'm really glad I wasn't forced to read him in high school, because a lot of people that I've talked to that had to read A Tale of Two Cities in high school, now they dislike Charles Dickens for, maybe it's that weird, like, cramming it down your throat before you're ready for it. I'm really glad that didn't happen to me, because I love him now that I'm an adult and I'm not a stupid little kid.
Yeah, big old dumb kid.
Yeah. So I've got an kind of an inflammatory statement to make right now, but I think you'll find that it's true after I'm done talking about this story. So this is the most famous and the most influential Christmas thing, I'm not even going to say story, Christmas thing ever besides the Bible.
What about Santa?
I think this is, okay, maybe. I don't know where Santa comes from, but like, this is right up there with him, and I'll explain why. This is more famous than Mariah Carey's freaking Christmas album, and that song. You all know what song I'm talking about.
Please don't! No! God, please, no! No!
This is more famous than The Grinch. This is more famous than Elf. Okay? And I'm just gonna...
What about A Christmas Story?
Yes,
did you say that one?
More famous than that. And I'm just gonna say one word. Scrooge. What person in the Western world has not heard that word, and what person in the Western world doesn't know what that means? Everyone knows what that means. And that's... And I'm gonna back this up later as I continue to talk about this. But so this is the summary I wrote. Notorious miser Ebenezer Scrooge is visited by his long-deceased partner Jacob Marley on the night of Christmas Eve. Marley lives an afterlife of punishment for his unkind life and warns Scrooge to prepare for the visitation of three spirits. These are the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, whose goal it is to awaken Scrooge to the error of his ways before it's too late. I mean, you all probably know this story. You've probably seen, there have been over 20 film adaptations of it.
20?
Yeah. This is like a very adapted book, novella, I guess. It's really short. Like, if you listen to the version I listened to, which it was unabridged, it was like 3 hours long. Really short.
Crazy.
You could read this every Christmas if you wanted to, like, comfortably.
Was the narrator good?
Oh, yeah. Really good. So what did I like about it? So the first thing to talk about is the language. I love the way that Dickens writes. It's really funny. He likes to play with his sentences, and he likes to make little jokes out of like the smallest things. I wrote down a couple of examples here, if you don't mind.
Okay, I guess I don't mind.
Okay, so
change my mind. I mind.
Well, it's too late. You already gave me the green light. So the first one is, so at the beginning of the book, I think it starts with Marley was dead, and it says Marley was dead as a doornail. So it's like a flashback to when his partner died. And the narrator,
I think it was pretty recent, though, that he died.
Huh?
Wasn't it pretty recent?
When he gets visited, it's 7 years after Marley's died. Okay, so here's the first quote that I wrote down. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade, but the wisdom of our ancestors in the simile, and my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country is done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was dead as a doornail. He could have just said dead as a doornail, but he goes into this whole thing. He's like, I don't really know why like a doornail has to be the thing that's super dead, but anyway, he was dead as a doornail.
Or he could have just said Marley was dead for 7 years.
Yeah. And then this is a quote at the end of the book after Scrooge. By the way, I'm going to be spoiling this story, because if you don't know this story by now, like,
it's almost 200 years old.
Come on, like you should know you know this story. So this is after Scrooge wakes up and decides to change his life. So he starts shaving, and it says, shaving was not an easy task, for his hand continued to shake very much, and shaving requires attention, even when you don't dance while you're at it. But if he had cut the end of his nose off, he would have put a piece of sticking plaster over it and been quite satisfied.
Bruh.
It's just so funny. Like, I love the little jokes that he chucks into his prose. It's so good. The characters are classic in this book. The message is important and really good. And I also wrote that I love the holy vessel of delivering the message, which is like it's a ghost story, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's being whisked away by these 3 spooky ghosts, and it's sort of like a big episode of Scared Straight. So
yeah.
I love that. I love that that holy vessel for delivering the message. That
Could you
what?
Oh, finish your sentence.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Like in... Oh, never mind. Never mind. It's not.
Wow, unbelievable.
I'm sorry. Well, I was going to
Should
make a joke about Layman and Lemuel, but I don't think most people will get it.
Yeah,
So,
probably not.
yeah.
That's fine.
When the angel comes and smites them with a rod. Yeah.
Stop it.
Need I say more?
Oh, whoops. Okay, so what did I not like about this? The only thing that I wish, and you know what, I don't even think this is really a flaw, because like the purpose of this book was to deliver a message, right? And Charles Dickens does that basically perfectly. The one thing that I wish I could know about this sort of universe, this story, is did Marley get a chance like this? Or was Marley just kind of blindsided when he died, and then he ended up... Because when Marley shows up, he's like covered in chains, and he says that he's cursed to just wander the earth because he didn't live a good life.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so he's warning Scrooge, basically. So I just wish I would have known, within the context of this world that Dickens is creating, like, does everybody get warned? Or,
Probably not.
Right.
If I had to guess, Marley probably regrets his life, right?
Yeah.
He comes back, and because he's cursed,
Yeah.
quote unquote, he comes back and warns
Yeah.
Scrooge because they're business partners and, in a grumpy old man way, friends.
Yeah. I wonder if I think, like, for how short this book is, it's amazing how much you can dig into the world and to the, what do the sentences mean, and like, so for example, Marley mentions that this is the first night that Scrooge has been able to see him, and he's been sitting with him many a night since his death. And I almost wonder if, like, there was some sort of creeping little bit of a change starting to happen in Scrooge that allowed him to perceive the spirit world and allowed him to go on this journey. Like, this is a 3-hour story. It's a novella. And
yeah, it's basically a short story.
And you can dig into, you can ask questions like this, and it doesn't sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's how well this is written. It's so good. So I wrote down, this is going to be like the fun facts.
Wait, so you didn't read this in high school, is what you're saying?
I didn't, no.
You didn't read any Charles Dickens?
None.
Okay.
Yeah, and since I've read A Tale of Two Cities, I've read Great Expectations, I've read this.
Have you seen... Oh, sorry, keep going.
I think those 3 might be the only 3 that I've read.
Have you watched any of the...
movies of this?
Yeah, Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've seen the Jim Carrey one, the animated one, the Muppets one.
Okay.
Actually, the Jim Carrey one is pretty close.
Is that the one that came out when I was in middle school?
Probably. It was the 3D one.
Yeah.
Like, it's
okay,
pretty...
I watched that in 3D. My aunt took me and my 2 younger siblings, and I was scared. I was in middle school.
Yeah.
I was like maybe 7th or 8th grade.
I think it captures, like, what Scrooge is feeling.
Yeah, and I had to take my 3D glasses off and close my eyes because I was so scared.
Like the whole chase scene doesn't happen where, like, the Grim Reaper ghost is chasing him through London.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the book, but, like,
it's so scary.
The way that that ghost looks, that's how it's described in the book. The way that the first ghost looks, that's the way it's described in the book. With, like, a changing face, and he has a lamp, or like he has a flame on his head and a little flame extinguisher hat that he doesn't put on.
But, like, if I was 13, like 12 or 13, my little brother was only 8.
Yeah.
Imagine, did you watch the 3D one?
Yeah.
In 3D?
Yeah.
Imagine an 8-year-old watching that. It was so scary.
Yeah, it's scary. It's Scared Straight, remember?
Yeah, I guess so.
So this next section is going to be the fun facts, but also, like, more things that I liked about this story, little insights I had while I listened to it. But it's titled Messages from the Beyond.
Are you in the beyond? I think you are.
Ooh.
Okay, a quote that I wrote down. These are just quotes that I thought were really poignant. So the first one is, are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they the shadows of the things that may be only? That's what Scrooge asks to the ghost of Christmas Future. And I just love that. He's like, this doesn't have to be your life if you decide to change right now, you know? And it's like, it's someone who's like desperately asking for a second chance, and he gets it, which I like. I thought that was cool. And then when he wakes up, the narrator says this: yes, and the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own, to make amends in.
Oh.
I really liked that sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, it really leans into you have a choice.
Yeah.
And like the consequences of your choices.
Yeah.
It's like this is what your choices are going to lead you to, but you also have a chance to change your choices. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And it's layered because when he is with the ghost of Christmas Future, he's being shown visions, and there's no order to the visions really, and he's conscious of the fact that he doesn't know like the chronology of the visions that the ghost is showing him. And I like how he says the time before him is his own, because he understands it again, and he knows he's living in the now, and he's moving forward, and he knows. I just liked that little detail. And then Scrooge says, I will live in the past, the present, and the future, Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of bed. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I really liked that because it like shows him his past, how it led to his present, and how his present will lead to his future. And I like the idea of, obviously there's the famous saying that you shouldn't live in the past, but also you shouldn't forget it.
Yeah.
And that is what Scrooge is saying. Like he shouldn't forget the good and bad things that have happened in the past, and his good and bad choices, and how they affect his present, and how his present will affect his future. So he's choosing to consider all three when he makes his decisions moving forward.
It's a really good thing to remember.
Yeah. Okay, when the ghost of Christmas Future shows him his visions, time is blended. Yeah. Scrooge doesn't seem to know the chronology of the events.
Already said this.
Yeah, I know. And he also doesn't seem to think it matters at the time where he says he doesn't know what's happening before what. And I thought that this was a clever way of paralleling like the eternal nature of the afterlife, because your time isn't limited in the afterlife, so it all kind of blends together. And I was reminded of Marley, how he said that his life was just eternal misery. He was just wandering, and he could never stop. And the past, the present, the future doesn't matter. Like it's all the same.
So he's just wandering through his own life, basically?
Just for all time. And it all blends together. And like when Scrooge is seeing this vision of the future, that's how it feels too.
Huh.
So I really liked that. Again, this is a freaking 3-hour novel. Like the depth in this is crazy. Also, this book beautifully parallels A Wonderful Life. It also really parallels Living, which we watched last year. Or not last year, last week.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I started thinking about other Christmas movies I've seen, and a lot of them owe a lot to this story. Like,
well, the whole idea of Scrooge, right?
Yeah, there seems to always be a Scrooge character that changes his ways by the end. The Grinch, maybe the most famous example. So yeah, all you authors and Christmas creators out there, you owe a lot to Charles Dickens. So go visit Westminster Abbey and kiss his gravestone. Okay, and
I forgot he was buried there.
Yeah, I was so happy when I saw his name, because I just read A Tale of Two Cities. We visited London and went to Westminster.
Yeah.
And I just read A Tale of Two Cities, and I was like, that book's so good. And then I saw him there, and I was like, there's the man. There he is. Okay, another thing I wrote down was, in the beginning, Scrooge doubts the reality of his visions. When he wakes up and sees his normal surroundings, he declares, it was all real. which was like, I thought that was kind of strange and interesting because like when he wakes up, he sees his normal bedpost, his normal bed. He sees the knocker, which originally he'd seen Jacob Marley's face in at his front door. He sees all of his stuff normally when he wakes up, and he declares that it was all real. There's no like evidence. Nothing was moved. Like nothing looks different.
You mean all his visions were real?
Yeah, there's no evidence that his visions were real to him, apart from the fact that, you know, he had them. But when he comes to the waking world, there's no proof, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he still says, like, it was all real. And I thought that was really cool because I don't think he really cares whether his actual physical body was with the spirits or if it was just his mind or if he just went in a dream. He doesn't care. And it's a perfect way to describe, like, a spiritual experience because they're very personal and individual. And even if you can prove it to no one else, it can still change you as a person. So I thought that was a really nice touch. And like, obviously Dickens is a religious, spiritual person.
Because of this?
I would say because of this, yeah. And he like kind of perfectly captured how it feels to have like a spiritual sort of changing experience. Okay, these are the more fun facts. So this was actually performed by Charles Dickens first. He read it, and it was so popular that he read it again 3 days later.
Oh, that's cool.
He sold,
in London town?
Yeah, London town, yeah. He wrote this book in 6 weeks. Wrote and performed.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's so short.
He's a master. That's all I can say. He's really good. And also, remember what I said about this book being the most influential Christmas thing of all time. Remember that. This book is responsible for Merry Christmas as a greeting. That was not a thing before this book.
Really?
Yep. So Santa's catchphrase, the guy that you said was more famous and influential, was created by A Christmas Carol.
I don't know Santa's history, right?
Yeah.
I just think today, right now, he's very influential.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, can you argue with that?
No, I was just saying.
Merry Christmas, yeah.
I'm just saying that Charles Dickens ripped off Santa. That's all I'm saying.
There is kind of a Santa-like. One of the ghosts is very Santa-like.
Which one?
Present. He's a very big, jolly guy. Yeah, anyway. What's my rating? 10 humbugs out of 10. I mean, honestly, what else is it going to be?
Wait, what was the little boy's name?
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't read it, read it. It's great.
I should probably read it again. I haven't read it since high school. So I watched a movie this week. I watched Christmas as Usual.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
And I watched it because I needed to watch a Christmas movie, and I went on to Netflix, and it said it was a Netflix original. I started it. So the movie is about Thea. It's Thea. I don't know how you say it. She's Norwegian.
Okay.
So I think it's Thea.
Okay.
And her boyfriend, Joshan, he's Indian.
Gaston.
They call him Josh. And the movie starts, she's on the phone with her mom. She comes home to their apartment, and it's obvious that she's getting proposed to. She's like, Mom, I have to go. Hangs up.
She says, Mother dear, we're not the fortunate ones. Girls just want to have fun.
And her boyfriend comes out and goes, I'm in love with a stripper.
Wait, what?
I was saying his response.
Okay.
She's saying girls just want to have fun, and her boyfriend says, I'm in love with a stripper.
Is that also a song?
Yeah. You haven't heard that song?
Maybe not.
I'm in love with a stripper?
Who is it?
T-Pain. I'm surprised you haven't heard that song before.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so she comes home and, Mom, girls just want to have fun.
Right.
Boyfriend, I'm in love with a stripper.
Yeah, and then her dad calls, and she says, oh, Daddy dear, you know, you're still number one. But girls just want to have fun.
Comes in, hangs up with her mom, her boyfriend proposes, and he's like, I know in Norwegian culture, like, this is very soon. They never say how long they've been dating. And he's like, in Indian culture, we'd already be married and with a bunch of kids,
Yeah.
and they'd be going off to college.
So this is a compromise if you think about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so Christmas is about to happen, and it's kind of awkward because I think she was surprised that he's proposing, because apparently it's very early for Norwegian culture. But they're living in LA. It doesn't really seem like she wanted to say yes, which is weird. And then she invites him to Norway for Christmas and is like, come to Norway and we'll have Christmas and we'll tell like my family together. And I guess Christmas is like a couple weeks away, and they go home, and on the way there, she keeps trying to tell Josh that her family doesn't know that he's Indian. So then they show up, and her mom is like, oh, hi. And like, she knew his name was Josh before, because she's like, I really want to meet Josh, like on the phone at the beginning of the movie. And then she meets him, and she's like, oh, forgets his name. Taya's like, this is Josh on. And she's like, oh, hi, Shazam. Bruh. Everybody calls him Shazam, like the whole movie. And like, for some reason, they can't just call him Josh.
But he doesn't use that name, because if he says it, a bolt of lightning will strike him and he'll become a superhero.
Exactly. And he's super nice.
Yeah.
And he is like, he's engaged to Taya. And like, in Indian culture, he's like, you would call your in-laws like mom and dad.
Okay.
And so he tries to call the mom Mama, which is Norwegian. That's what they say. And the mom's like, no, like, my name is fine. And he's like, well, in Indian culture, and like, he keeps trying to share his culture with them, and it comes off very racist.
Is he trying to share it or force it on
Share
them?
it.
Okay.
He's not forcing it.
Okay.
The mom is like, why didn't you tell me he was Indian? And Daya never really says anything. And then the brother shows up, and the brother is like, so he's Indian. And it seems like a very big deal. And at some point during the show, someone, like the mom or the brother, is like, Norwegians are very friendly and like very welcoming to other people, just not around Christmas. So they're like blaming the fact that they're like kind of racist on Christmas.
That's not very Christmas Carol of them.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. It's very confusing. And like at one point, Taya still hasn't told her family that she's engaged. She doesn't wear the ring. And at some point, she's like, Josh, like, let's tell my family tonight. We'll make it special. And so everyone goes out and does something. And Taya is asleep on the couch. And she wakes up to Josh making dinner. And he's making Indian food. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, we have like these traditions of like what we have to do. And the family comes home and flames him. Is so rude about him being nice and making them dinner.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we're supposed to have, like, sure, this could be like a traditional thing. They're like,
Feast of the Seven Fishes, baby.
Whatever, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, we always have this on the 22nd. We always eat this. Like, this is fine, but like, it's not what we always have. It's not meatballs and gravy.
Yeah, sorry you don't get your classic nasty Norwegian cuisine, whatever the freak that is, and you actually get Indian food.
Yeah,
which
homemade.
Is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the family freaks out because it's like, quote unquote, too hot. And everyone's like throwing their food out. I don't know. It was stupid. They were not nice. It was
Okay.
So then at some point, this new character, Jorgen, is introduced. And it used to be Taya's boyfriend.
Okay.
They dated for 5 years. Taya's dad dies. She breaks up with her boyfriend, moves to America, meets Josh.
Yeah.
So Jorgen is like still kind of jealous and trying to like swoop in. And at some point he's dressed up as Santa.
He's a swoopy boy.
Yeah. He dresses up as Santa for Taya's niece, Santa, Jorgen, and Josh get into this fight, and then like Taya like freaks out and basically tells him to go home. I'm ruining this movie, but I don't care because it was so bad. Also, it wasn't in English.
That was in Norwegian?
Apparently, well, it was dubbed. It
So,
never gave me the option.
What was Josh speaking?
English.
What?
And then sometimes people are like, the whole thing is dubbed, so you never know when they're
Oh, okay,
speaking
okay. Whatever the
Norwegian
original.
or when they're speaking English, because sometimes the words line up and sometimes the words don't, and it was kind of driving me crazy. And you know that like the translations are not great, because that's just how it is with like every language, I feel like. But I didn't like this movie. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't watch it on Christmas.
Okay. What about after? What about on the 22nd? I always watch this movie on the 22nd. So are you telling me not to?
Oh, and like Josh Hahn was just trying to like share his culture. I did not feel like he was trying to force it. On Christmas Eve, which is when Norwegians celebrate Christmas, apparently, he wears his like traditional shirt that they, like the long shirt
Josh.
that Josh does,
Okay.
that a lot of Indians wear, and people are like flaming him for wearing this shirt. Like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
So I think I would rate this.
There's no way Norway's actually like that, right?
I hope not.
Yeah.
So I would rate this 1 polar ice plunges out of 10.
Dang.
Yeah. It's not great.
All right.
Yeah. Did you watch anything?
Yeah. I know I said, I think last episode, that I'm tired of watching A Christmas Story, but I watched it again. I was going to watch Violent Night, but then because we were doing The Bear, I thought, maybe I should just do like a
happy one.
Yeah, like a family-friendly one, because this is the Christmas PALOOZA, subtitle TM, patent pending.
Oh, we didn't
episode.
do parental
Oh, for anything?
anything. For The Bear, language.
There's a lot of language in The Bear.
There's alcohol, like substances.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah,
And then like obviously like the themes of suicide and stuff,
Yeah.
but they don't show
No.
the violence of suicide. So.
And then for mine, Christmas as usual, there might be some language. It's not. Kids could watch it. It's just boring.
Yeah.
And A Christmas Carol.
Everyone should watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, should read it.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of whether or not you are a Christian. Like, obviously Charles Dickens is, and he makes references to the Bible in this story, but it's not front and center.
Yeah.
Like, this won't offend you at all if you're of a different religion, and you should read it.
Well, and I read it in high school.
Yeah.
Like, they read it in high school.
Yeah, like, the message is universal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important no matter what faith, creed, whatever you are, so. All right, A Christmas Story, 1983. The summary: Ralphie wants a gun. Everybody run. But those surrounding him don't want him to shoot his eye out. How will Ralphie cope? Couldn't be me. Will he enter his Red Ryder BB gun era, circa December 25th? So, most people, I'm sure, have seen this movie. He wants a Red Ryder BB gun, and he's trying to figure out a way to get it.
Shoot your eye out, kid!
Yeah, and then the kid sticks his tongue to the pole and gets stuck, and then they get a leg lamp, and the dad swears at the radiator all the time.
Fragile.
Yeah.
What does he go?
You know this story. And then he says the F word, and then his mom puts the soap in his mouth, and then he blames it on another kid at school, and then they can hear the mom beating the kid on the on the end of the phone when she calls and says, "Your son taught my son the F word." What? What? Oh, mom, stop! Just beating him up. This is one of the best.
I had a friend in high school or growing up.
Yeah.
Her grandpa had the leg lamp.
Really?
Yeah.
It's iconic, This is one of the best Christmas movies, I think. Like, probably in the top 3. It's really funny. The narrator, the way he speaks, it's like written for the adults, you can tell. Like, it's way too eloquent, and the words he's using it's really funny, but it's like way too much for a young kid to understand. So it's like, this is one of those great movies that was made for both. The dad is really funny. The mom is great. They both have their flaws. For example, the dad seems harsh, but he's the one who remembers what Ralphie really wants for Christmas, and he's the one who makes it happen. And the mom just seems overprotective and overbearing, but she is very tender, towards her kids.
Sounds like very stereotypical mom and dad.
Right. One thing I thought was funny also is pretty much every meal the mom makes, except for the turkey, looks absolutely disgusting in this movie. Like, she doesn't seem like she knows what she's doing when it comes to cooking. My favorite part, I love the things the dad does are really funny. But I think my favorite part of this movie is when they go into the mall and they like sit on Santa's lap. And elves and Santa are just so scary and mean and just nasty teenagers that don't want to be there. They're just sadistic. They like take pleasure in making the kids cry and scream.
Aww.
It's so funny though.
Why do you? Well, I mean, it's obvious why those kids were crying, but I feel like Santa is like a old fat grandpa.
Well, he's just like,
why do kids cry every single time they sit on? It's like
I don't know.
canon event for kids.
It's just like a stranger, but this one is like in their face, like, ho, ho, ho. And they're just every kid like looks up at him and just starts screaming, and then they push them down the slide. And then Ralphie like goes down the slide and catches himself because he didn't ask for what he really wanted, and he like scrambles back up, and then Santa kicks him. It's so funny.
Well, it's just like so sad. Like you see, look at these pictures of like little. I just got sent a picture of my niece sitting on Santa's lap, screaming.
Yeah.
It's so sad, but it's so cute and it's so funny.
Well, the director was like, "How can we make this funny? I mean, kids seem to be terrified of Santa. Let's give them a reason in this movie." It's really good.
That's awesome.
Dislikes. You've probably seen this too many times. I've seen this too many times. It's not really the movie's fault, but I still laughed at this though, despite the number of times I've seen it, because it's just good. All right, time for our very famous segment, Little BBs of Truth. The snow in this movie is mostly fake. It was created.
Where was it filmed?
It's set in Chicago, I think. I don't know where it's filmed, but like there's a lot of snow in this movie, like a lot.
And it's all fake?
Yeah, pretty much all of it. Yeah. Jack Nicholson was almost cast as the dad. He was very interested. He wanted to be the dad, but at that point he was too expensive. He'd already won an Oscar, so they couldn't get him. Which, he would have been good too. But like the dad was great, so it was fine. The goggles kid in the department store that they're next to in line, where he's like, "I like the Wizard of Oz." He's wearing goggles. So he wasn't even supposed to be in the movie. They saw him at the department store, and then the director went up to his guardian. He was like, "Hey, can your kid be in the movie?"
We need him.
It's just like, he's wearing goggles. How can he not? So yeah, that.
Hey, is this your kid? Are those his goggles? Is this how he really is? I need him.
Yeah. Are you okay with that? And the rest is history.
That's so funny.
And they actually had Ralphie say the F word.
Bruh.
Isn't that hilarious?
How old is he? Like 7?
He's got to be around that age. He's
like
really
between
young.
6 and 8?
Yeah. Yeah, because he goes, "Oh, fudge," or whatever. And he's like, "But I didn't say fudge." They were actually having him say it
That's so funny.
in the take. Okay, rating. 8.5 nasty soapy punishments out of 10.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Did you ever get your mouth washed out when you were a kid? Is this child abuse talking about this?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
No. Did you?
I love the flashbacks in this movie too. Like when they give him the soap and then he like imagines in the future he comes back to the house and he's blind. And then they're like, "What did we do, Ralphie?" It was so poisoning.
It's so funny.
It's just like, that's how kids are too. Like they think of these like little
Absurd.
scenarios, or his teacher reading his like essay about the Red Ryder BB gun, and it like she's so depressed and then it saves her life or whatever. Just great. Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Okay. So I think on this Christmas break, I think we might finish Shoresy.
Yeah. Be a good time. It's about hockey.
Yeah.
Cold
we'll
ice.
have the time for it.
Yeah.
But happy Christmas, everybody. I hope
we went over this.
I hope you had a wonderful day.
Merry Christmas. We went over this.
I just like Happy Christmas. It's different.
Yeah, but now that I know where Merry Christmas comes from, I like it even more.
Okay. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.
I hope you had a great day. And I hope no forks are thrown at people.
Yeah, that's true. And no ghosts.
And no tongues getting stuck to light poles.
Yes, and no leg lamps that make the wife of the house uncomfortable.
This was Reviewable. Bye!